Hey, this is Boo, and welcome back to Mountain Blade, the Adventures of Dogface McPoop the Perma-Marshal of the Kingdom of Nord Rebels, and I have to apologize because a couple days ago I did a whole bunch of recordings of Mountain Blade action, going back and forth defending castles, fighting lords, and afterwards I realized that my audio was all screwed up on them. Because of a problem that I didn't realize was going on with my mic, and also a problem with the Windows Sound Driver. I fixed those now, but I couldn't really cut around all the audio issues, so I decided I'm just going to compress them down into this, just so you know exactly what was going on before I go on with new episodes. So we're at Caledron Castle, and we've just fought a whole bunch of holding actions, taking and fighting off invasions at Caledron and Rebel Castle, and this is still going on because now we're getting to the point where our kingdom is large enough and we don't have quite enough lords to defend it. So I run back to Sinnoh to take care of my prisoners and my inventory and restock my troops a little bit, go back to Caledron, and it's already under attack. So I peel some of the guys away, hoping to isolate some of the attackers I managed to, and so I'm trying to fight them in small batches so I can take them off the field and free up Caledron Castle. I managed to isolate Harengoth, more or less, and take his army down like this. It was a little bit dicey because some of those Swadians have a whole lot of heavy cavalry. It was kind of a problem, but of course at the end we were victorious. Because, you know, Dogface McPoop is just awesome. Now, unfortunately, as soon as we're done with that, I mouse over the various castles to find out who's in trouble, who's under siege, and I realize that Joe Beggy is already in combat, and there's a lot of Nords attacking, like over 900 of them, but I really don't want to have to take Joe Beggy again because it's super annoying, so I jump in, and I hope to whittle down just enough of the attackers so that they'll break the siege. Now this works, and we step out of the castle again, and of course, because they have such an advantage and they're already in the middle of a siege, the computer can do this. They just jump right back into the castle, so we have to go back in without any time to heal or regain our followers' hit points or anything like that. And we fight another holding action where we kill a bunch more Nords and force them out of the siege. Now this seems all very advantageous, but the key thing here is that we lose our followers, including Deshavi. And Deshavi is our pathfinder. Without Deshavi, we actually wind up being slower than some of these smaller Nord parties who are backed up by larger Nord parties. So we get cornered. It's really not a good situation. We cannot engage this many Nords, so unfortunately I have to sacrifice 19 of our guys in order to stand back and hold them off, dying so that the rest of us can escape. And it's kind of sad. Our followers aren't really super happy about it, but really we had no choice. This just means that we are even angrier and demand revenge. So we take a quick trip back to Sinnoh and get some new recruits, replenish our numbers, and manage to find some of our allies to follow us down so that we're not completely without backup, because we don't want that to happen again. And they're still sieging the castle. We managed to peel away Ragnar and keep the rest of his backup away while sandwiching him between two armies. Ragnar, of course, is an overconfident idiot, charges right up, gets knocked out immediately, as he's wont to do, and we piece down the rest of his army, thus taking the largest threat off the field, and I'm kind of hoping that he was the marshal, because that would break the siege. And it seems I was right. They all start moving out, so we can now, with the help of my fellow rebels, pick down a couple of the other armies and reduce the threat on the field, so we don't have to pay quite so much attention to this part of the map right now. This starts by baiting Remold into attacking Lord Harrow, and then we can jump in and make the odds even worse for the enemy. And immediately thereafter, Giarth, who's not paying any attention at all, is just heading back to a castle. We jump on him and eliminate Giarth's party as well, so that takes some of the pressure off of the interior. Now this is great. We head off to Tyr to take care of our prisoners and whatnot, and immediately Ribolet is besieged again. At this point, I've just about had it with this little kind of, I suppose, it's difficult to call it an uprising, but I decided that I'm just going to take off all the Nords off of the field as quickly as possible, imprison as many of their lords as I can so I can remove the pressure and get the hell out of this territory so that I can go and actually take some offensive actions. And so I immediately go after Ryak, who, although I think he kind of likes me still, and he's not really doing anything overtly aggressive, he's got to go. So we do some quick restocking, we pick up another ally to follow us around, head back to Rivalet. It turns out there's only one guy who's sieging Rivalet. Sometimes the computer will do this, sort of pinging your defenses. And it's only Lord Surgeon, so I chase him away, track him down, and it turns out that it's been long enough since I've tried to convince anyone that I can start to try and convince again. But he's a selfish bastard and doesn't care, so his army also has to go. So now with a lot of the threats in the interior taken away, I think, oh, maybe I can head out and attack some Swadian castles. Unfortunately, the most convenient one is way out here, close to Kurga territory, and as soon as I get close to it, a nearby castle comes under attack, and I get distracted by the presence of Lord Rafark, so I figure, I've already gotten too far ahead of my allies anyway, so I should be heading back in that direction, so I attack Lord Lafark, and with some losses, managed to take his army off the field as well, so I can continue on to find out what's going on at Randy Castle. Once I get back to Randy Castle, it turns out there's only a couple of small Swadian armies who run away as soon as I get close to there, and I hear the sounds of battle from nearby, run down there because it sounds more interesting, and it seems that all of my rebel lords are engaged in a big death ball fight with, it looks like, most of the Swadian lords. So naturally I jump in, tilt the odds in our favor. It was a little bit dicey when all of their lords came charging up all at once on a heavy horse, but we hold the field, managed to whittle them all down over a few rounds, and at the end we take them off the field and I pick up 3 additional prisoners. Sweet! So a little bit after this I run a couple more interference actions where I take some small parties off of the field. And part of the reason I'm doing this is because immediately afterwards I begin running around recruiting a lot of soldiers that I don't personally need, but the idea is that I'm going to recruit a lot of soldiers, train them up, and give away top-tier troops to my various rebel lords, with the idea that they'll be a little more autonomous, they won't be running away all the time, they can hold the territory a little bit better, which is going to allow me to run off and do some more offensive actions in Swadian and Kurgan territory, without worrying that I'm going to lose all of my local holdings in the meantime. Now, this kind of works, except that I get mugged a lot more because I'm visiting a lot more villages at night, just trying to finish things quickly. When I head back, I try to summon lords to come over and wait with me in Sargoth while I train troops and then hand them out. Only one guy listens to me, and I had to tell him manually. Then he wanders off, so it didn't work out quite the way I thought. I think I'm resolved to handing out troops as I'm able and then going back to restock myself, which means that I'm going to have to pay some additional salaries in the meantime. And this is a little bit annoying, but I think it's less annoying than me trying to bottle everyone up for a while I hand out Swadian knights and marksmen. And of course, because I've been gone on this recruiting trip for so long, some of the enemies are back, like Lord Rias here, and I have to spend some time taking them out of the picture, and some of my lords are already wounded, so they can't follow me anyway. So, it's kind of a failure. I'm hoping the investment will pay off in the long term. So unfortunately, while all this was going on, we did lose Riabalet Castle to the Swadians, so I run up around there, try and pass off some troops to my allies, which I do somewhat successfully, and then we come across this interesting little conflict between what looks like about close to 700 Nords and some Swadians. So this fight's going to go on for a while, so I kind of park my guys around the outside, hoping to catch a couple of stragglers, guys who are leaving the field. We managed to catch one Nord army and one Swadian army, take them down, but it still looks pretty threatening. I have a feeling that whenever the Nords are done with this group, that they're going to come out in force, and I do not want to get my guys caught like this. And although it's risky, I decided that I'm going to go ahead and siege Riabalet Castle and try to take it back. Now, unfortunately, while this is going on after the first day, my guys get caught up in another fight. I abandon the siege in order to go help them. Then we go back to sieging, and we managed to complete the tower without getting swarmed by Nords. We managed to go back and take the castle back yet again. Now at this point I'm feeling pretty good about my armies, especially with the supplemental troops I've given them, so we decide to head out towards Swadian territory, and look at this. The Swadians are already in our territory. They're running away from our reinforced armies. We split them off a little bit, and I go to try and isolate one of them down, and we manage to beat that army down and take them off the field. After this battle, we get some more reinforcements from Nudar. I hand him some more advanced troops that he needs, and then I head off to Sargoth along with the other guy who managed to chase off the rest of the Swadian army by himself, and we come across a battle where some of our enemies are attacking a Rodok caravan, and we decide to jump in there just to take these guys away. So that was successful. I mean, we were unsuccessful in getting out of our territory and taking over some new estates. Because of all the defensive actions we had to perform. I was only partially successful in reinforcing armies just because so many of my guys are wounded and hiding in castles or doing God knows what. But with our additional troops to give away, I'm hoping that pretty soon we'll be able to reinforce our fellow rebels to the point where they're a little more self-sufficient, not getting their asses kicked all the time, and we can maybe protect our home territory a little better, so I can go out and start beating down on our enemies a bit more. And I'll try to get to that next time. Thanks for watching.